I mean, this is insane. You know, you can't put hairs between these stones. Clearly not Inca. Megalithic construction, it's nothing we can do today. With all of our technology, and that starts to say something vastly different about our world. We're in this amazing sacred space. I don't think this was only for agriculture.
No. I don't think it doesn't really make sense for agriculture when you think about it. I mean, because part of the thing, when you look at all the other steps that there are at Machu Picchu and several other places, Ollantaytambo, they're like very square and linear, and that's for good reason, so you don't step on all your crops. It's easy to get out of. Not so simple with this.
Exactly. So if you're gonna make terraces to plant crops, you're gonna make them on hills linearly, like you see all around here,
obviously,
and not necessarily like this. I think this is probably a later iteration of something that was already present much earlier.
That's definitely how I feel. And at the other sites that we're going to, that I also went to the last couple of days, it was very obvious. There was a stark contrast between very large, sort of megalithic stones that were probably easily 70, 80 tons, similar to what we see in the Giza Plateau. And they clearly predate what the Incas left, which was also phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. It was amazing stuff, but the rocks were very, very small.
Right.
And it's clear that they came and said, oh, this could be a great place to settle.
Right.
Okay, so there are designs in the wall as part of the construction. I'll show you two of them. This one here, this is a puma's paw. It's not by chance. Then the next one I'll show you is a snake, and once you see it, it's like, oh.
So here we can see again the bulge.
Yeah.
The bulge, and then the incredible precisions of the cut.
Yeah, and no tool marks.
No tool marks.
And the curve, like every wall, every corner curves.
Yeah.
So that, again, that sound and vibration and resonance doesn't like angles. Yeah, it's 80 to 100 tons, I think, this one.
Yeah.
They're all about this, like that thick.
About a meter.
And the joinery is perfect from front to back.
And it's 12 foot down.
Yeah, the foundation it's not that every stone goes down 12 feet, but the foundation is 12 feet.
And so here, clearly different people, right? Rocks that you can manage.
Here, what they said, and this is the standard archaeological story. In order to get them up and be able to shape them properly, they would take tree trunks and put them in those depressions and push the stone up, get it into place, and then find out how they have to fine tune it, take it back down again, and then cut some more, put it back up, take it down until they were perfectly precise.
Yeah.
But more likely, because we saw that this has sonic characteristics to it, that those depressions could have been fine-tuning after the wall was built. Like we'll rough shape it. And it's like, okay, it's not the It's not reacting exactly the way we want, so little depressions are made here and there in order to make it, to bring it to resonance.
I think this was pre-cataclysmic.
That's proven by the upper row. The upper part is Inca.
As Inca.
You see, it's a lot worse.
Yeah. It doesn't have mortar. For thousands and thousands of years, look at what it's sitting on. Right? This is like really uneven terrain, really difficult terrain to like dry stack a wall on it and for it to just stay there. So you have all this, and then you have this corner that is really like, you can see like this mushed into this, right? You gotta curve this way, you gotta curve this way. This is all, and I can't see any evidence that the bedrock was prepared. Meaning it's not like they leveled the bedrock and then start putting rocks on it. We would do that. If we were building a wall on something like this. I mean, this is insane. You know, you can't put hairs between these stones. Thousands and thousands of years ago. Clearly not Inca. How insane is it that the archaeological community for over 100 years I've continued to insist that these guys are the same guys that built the other walls, right? Like, just not the same. So now look at that triangle guy. See that triangle guy, that diamond shaped stone? You see how where it meets the other stones and it pinches? You're not doing that with copper tools. Right? Or like some kind of brass tool or anything. Or even if you had iron, you're not doing that. We're not doing that with CNCs today. Like, if it was easy to do this, we would be constructing this way. Right? Because it's like earthquake proof stuff. So if engineers, if we had the technology to do this kind of stuff, engineers would be doing it, right? We'd be like, we wouldn't be using like 10-pound bricks to build our buildings. We would be using 100-ton boulders, right? But we don't have that technology. Why would we think that like a culture that was at the Bronze Age, right, or like copper tools and browns and so on, would like all of a sudden have that kind of technology, right? Like, since we don't have it today.
Open your eyes.
that most of the terraforming in altitude was not reconstructed.
Oh yeah.
Right?
No way.
The Incas didn't get up there. 50 to 60 ton boulders. I mean, those are huge. People don't necessarily realize what that means, how big that is, and how difficult it is to move something that big, and so on. And to just say, oh yeah, and then the quarry for those places, you know, the quarry is literally across the valley, you know, another mountain top. Like, it was quarried at the top of a mountain. And so, like, to take a 50-ton boulder down a mountain, across a valley, across a river, back up another mountain to go and build a building is not only not practical, but it's completely inconceivable with today's technology. Never mind, you know, bronze tools and vine ropes. You know, it just doesn't happen.
And we've been there with master machinists. That's what they do for a living, is they work with very powerful, hyper-accurate machines. And they said, based on the striations, like with the drill holes, and also the cuts on the Giza Plateau in the basalt and granite, that the penetration rate was 2 millimeters per revolution, which is 500 times more efficient, not faster, but more efficient than a 21st century drill or something.
Right.
And you see that also at Abu Sir.
Yeah, you do, and as well these tubular holes.
Oh yeah.
Where you see the striation, you see the rapidity, the efficiency of the penetrating tubular drill.
Yeah.
Making those holes over the top, and they're really thin.
Yeah.
Right, because you can see how thick the blade was.
Yeah.
And it's really thin, so I can't imagine the kind of material.
Not of this world.
Right.
I'll tell you that.
You know, the type of material you would need to make, you know, blades that thin,
Yeah.
penetrate that fast or that efficiently through the rock. You know, I don't know of any material that can do that. And it's not just the density of megalithic building and the precision and the amazing structures that were made, but it's the terraforming of all of these valleys.
Yeah.
You know, you take millions, billions of people to terraform all these valleys, and those are non-trivial numbers. You know, like billions of tons of material, because if you haven't been here, you don't realize how much terraforming was done. I mean, you look down the valleys, and as far as you can see, like in the Sacred Valley, it's terraformed everywhere. In this, in the high altitude, most of the stuff hasn't been renovated or excavated. You don't do that for cultivation. You cultivate where it's easy. And even today, you know, we cultivate in the valley. We kind of cleaned up some of the little platforms here and there in the lower part, but all the stuff in the altitude, we leave it there because we don't have the technology to go and, you know, cultivate that high. You know, that's crazy.
I don't think we can rule out that they had some technology such as auditive levitation, that they had a way of moving these massive stones using levitation techniques that are still unknown to our scientific community.
No doubt, because you can see as well the way the placement of the stones and the way the stones are connected to each other, that it's not the result of tooling, it's not the result of somebody going at it with with brass or copper tools or even iron tools if they had them, which they didn't. You need something vastly more advanced. Even CNC cutting today wouldn't be able to do it. So we're talking of a technology that is unknown to us at this time in history. But we can now, with the level of technology and the level of science we know of, we can start to speculate about the kind of technology. And we're talking about, cold plasma. We're talking about, energizing a stone to the point where it becomes soft, that it becomes malleable, and that it overcomes gravitational forces so that it can be moved very easily, placed, and then kind of smoothed out into the position or into the shape you want it. And that might be why these knobs are there. And definitely you can see it bulges. So, when you're placing one on top of the other, they bulge because they're soft, right? And then you remove the energy level off the stone, and then they solidify the way they are, and they almost fuse together, one beside each other. And you can see that all around the world. Yeah. And it's just remarkable. This is such a great example because it's so remote. And the stones that make up these pre-cataclysmic wall, not the stones that were rebuilt by the Incas, but the stuff that was there before, they don't come from around here. They come from like way down the valley where, there's no way they were brought here by people pulling on vine ropes and on rollers and stuff. I mean, some theory was that there was a ramp and they just rolled them down the mountain. It's like, well, if you did that, they wouldn't look that good by the time you're done with them. So, clearly there was completely different technique and a completely different level of technology, a technology that exceeds what we have today.
I think that whether it's people like yourself or Graham Hancock or others around the world, they all believe, and I do as well, that there is lost history.
So it's time. It's time for the story to change. It's time for us to recover the true history of the earth. And clearly there was a very advanced civilization that was there, most likely pre-cataclysm, that is pre-10,000 to 12,000 years ago, and that civilization perished or moved on, and what we see is the remnants of it that were repaired by the later civilizations all around the world. It's like, no, this is one culture, this is one humanity, and it's like us coming together and unifying, not just unified physics, but unifying humanity.